Hey there. Welcome, civilians. You've arrived at the home of civilized and thought-provoking commentary. Get ready for elevation, growth, and experience. I am the civilized woman.
Ass down. Man, I got mind control over Debo. He be like, shut the fuck up. I be quiet, but when he leave, I be talking again.
Y'all forgive me. I'm so sorry. Please excuse the profanity. I do not. I try as much as possible. I don't use profanity in my real life, and I try not to put that on my channel. But I just could not resist using that clip of Smokey from Friday. Why do these people act like Mel is Debo? They be acting so contrite in her presence, and they be so sorry, and then when they leave, they be acting tough again. Like, anyway, I couldn't resist. So I'm sorry about that, y'all. Apparently, Mel's Debo. Let these people tell it. We're gathered here. Excuse my manners, y'all. Welcome back, civilians. I hope y'all are having a good week. It's Thanksgiving week. I hope your Monday has been well. And I pray that the rest of your week is even better. So now that I've gotten my pleasantries out the way and I'm polite and used my manners, let's get into this commentary, y'all. Love and Marriage Huntsville, season 9, episode 4, Steering into Scandal. So I guess they decided to focus on make the Scots the plot, one of the Scots the plot line this episode. Last week it was Ken and Trish, so they're using the some of the non-factors as focal points these past couple of episodes, and I don't care what. The MVP for me is Melody in this episode. And if they will use her the way they should, she'd be the MVP every episode. But she actually is the only one I would say that really stood on business and brought it this episode. Everyone else was kind of ancillary. Miss Nell. Okay. Y'all know how I do. I'm not necessarily looking to give a play-by-play. I'm just really giving like my reactions and my opinions to the scenes that I choose to highlight in a given review. So they open off with Martell and Destiny, and y'all, why are they looking like they're a couple on that bench? Like catching up with each other. Maybe they just, took their lunch breaks from work and they came to just, sneak a peek of each other. Regardless of how far apart they were sitting, that's the vibe I got. Of course, Martell starts to talk. She asks about the kids, and one thing you can trust Martell to be, unfortunately, is himself. Is Martell 100% of the time. Good, bad, or indifferent, and unfortunately in his case is typically bad. Of course, he pawns the kids off on his mother because he just needs a break, yet he is fighting Melody tooth and nails for custody of them kids, but yet he needs a break. Mind you, he gets them only 2 weeks out of the month, but he needs a break from them. Moving on. So Destiny talks about her daddy a little bit, and then talks about, did y'all notice that when she talked about having a warehouse for her candle, the surprise and that Martell tried to disguise in his voice, like, girl, you ain't got no daggone warehouse for no candles, right? I just thought that was funny that that he kind of had that reaction because, yeah. Is giving probably not so true, in my opinion, just based off of her track record and, quite frankly, the track record of everybody else on that cast. Then, of course, he asked about the trip because he needs a way to be able to really get some kind of intel, find out some kind of detail about Melody, because he's living vicariously through everybody. So she, of course, true to form, exaggerates her interaction with Mel when she's talking to Martell, and talks about the girls trip, and talks about Mel being fake and phony and not and pretending to like her. And it's very concerning and very interesting at the same time that you have a bunch of grown folks that don't understand what it means to be cordial, what it means to be business, what it means when you have a matter at hand that you're trying to work through, a la feeling of the show. There's certain ways you need to comport yourself that helps get the objective done. Does not mean Mel is being phony or fake. She just understands that we are here to do a job and my name is on this, so I'm going to do my very best as much as it depends on me to make sure that this moves forth with as much success as possible. But flip point though, if Mel had ignored her, not interacted with her, or anything like that, she would have came back and talked about how bitter Mel was, how Mel didn't talk to her at all, how rude Mel was, how ignorant Mel was. Now, no, she did not tell Martell that she apologized to Melody, but she made sure to let him know things that she thought he would want to hear from him regarding Mel. Then they bring up talking about Trisha. Y'all know Martell don't take responsibility for anything at all, and he, at every chance possible, he would divert attention from himself and his own actions. He starts going off about the Scotts. The bottom line is Martell is upset that they all did dirt together and he is the only one that suffered the consequences of the dirt that they did together and the choices that he made. Unfortunately for him, he didn't understand that the type of woman he married is different from the type of woman they married. And as much as they spend a lot of time together with the other couples, it wasn't enough for any of those other women to rub off on Melody. So unfortunately, she wasn't going to put up with his nonsense. Then they move on to Miss Nell going to visit Mel, because she wanted to talk to her because, she's in her feelings about the room. And, they're chit-chatting a little bit. And, Mel starts to poke at her and, just kind of like, at your age, I thought you'd be cool. You understand. No, she didn't understand that. And, then, just poking back and forth. So Mel then goes into, Nell, goes into talking about how she was a mentor and a counselor for Mel. And, Mel acts a fool, dropping little breadcrumbs, letting it be known that Miss Nell never really visits her. So what was going on? And she definitely started like cutting up when she was talking about, her being her mentor and her counselor. And Mel made it abundantly clear, you were never my mentor nor my counselor. Miss Nell doesn't really understand words and definitions, with all due respect. There's a huge difference between mentoring and counseling somebody and being a friend of theirs. Those are two different things. In my opinion, it was more of a friendship than a mentorship or a counselor. And I think Miss Nell's actions, and I'm trying not to call her Miss Nell because, quite frankly, she's lost that right to get that respect. Not that she should be disrespected, but she's not carrying herself in a way that warrants her having the miss put in front of her name. So since she doesn't want to own her eldership and doesn't want to carry herself in the way that her eldership requires, I'm not going to force it, so I'm going to try not to put something on her that she's not wanting to be put on her. So she's is in her feelings, and Mel's kind of like, I thought we was cool too till I saw that interview you did with Crystal XO. And of course she just does not know what Mel is talking about. And what is she ain't never say. True to Mel's form, Queen of Receipts brings out the phone. The clip clearly says how they find both Mel and Martell draining, and they're both stubborn. And Mel felt away about that, and she had every right to feel away. This group has an issue with being able to stand on and calling out Martell directly. They always have to group him and Mel together to kind of take the brunt of it off, so he don't turn around and spray them for whatever it is that they're trying to not have come out. Because really, you can tell that when she's saying that, that's really Martell. And Mel kind of confirmed that, because Mel said, I don't be calling you for anything. Like, I don't call you. I don't bother you. I don't be the one telling you stuff. It is clear that Nell and her husband interfered or tried to quote unquote call themselves mentoring or counseling Mel and Martell due to Martell's insistence, not necessarily something that Mel required or sought out. Not that she didn't like them and she wasn't friendly with them, but it's very clear to me, just based on how that whole scene played out, that it was at the behest of Martell, not both Mel and Martell. So Nell felt the way about that, and they seemed to squash it. She actually apologized to Mel. Mel appreciated it, accepted the apology, because Mel was like, that really hurt my feelings, because I thought we were really friends. Then they get to the individual of the hour, Kimmy and her husband, Maurice, who was the focus of this episode. And y'all remember when Mel called him the least relevant? That still stands. Even though this was supposed to be focused on him, he was not the standout. It was just like an add-on to everything else that was going on. To me, the standout was really what happened, the conversation between Mel and Nell, and then that carried on over to when she met to talk to her husband. But since the episode was supposed to be about him, we'll spend some time on him as well. So him and Kimmy are talking about what happened with his whole DUI. They're discussing that, and he says that y'all, Kimmy and Maurice give me mother and son vibe. Like, I don't get real husband and wife vibes from them. It's always like he's always getting into some kind of shenanigans that his mom has to bail him out of, instead of a man who was married doing things to make sure he doesn't bring embarrassment and shame to his wife and doesn't put any burden on her that she don't need to be carrying. But that would be too much like right for Maurice not to do those things to Kimmy. So he says he wants to make her job easier, and that he never had an encounter with the police. The streets say otherwise, but I digress. I believe you are in a whole case situation right now because of the fact that your past record allegedly was brought up. So I think there can be some arguments as to whether or not you've ever had any kind of encounter with the police, but you say you haven't, so there it is. Now, one of the things that tripped me out is Kimmy saying that she thought he was at work. It was in the night, was it not? Like, I know that the DUI was in the afternoon, but this whole thing of them being together and like the drinking and all that, it was in the night. Is that what we're calling it? Him going to the office when he goes out to do his shenanigans? Is him going out to the office? That's interesting. Kimmy says that she can't help what she doesn't know. Then apparently there's a lot that she cannot help, because it seems like, in my opinion, there's a lot that she don't know. Maurice tells her, you can't help me. Ouch. To me, he's really saying, I don't want you in my business. You're telling your wife that she can't help you. He don't want you in his business, Kimmy. That's what that means. He don't want you in his business. She says she doesn't trust that he's telling her everything. He's not forthcoming. You're right. You can't trust it because he's not telling you everything. You're on need to know basis. You didn't even know when he was there was no discussion about his son moving in with y'all, nor were there any discussion about his ex-wife and her new husband living close to y'all. So yeah, you don't know, because he don't be wanting you in his business. Y'all, I'm not really going to spend too much time on Ken and Trish. They had a whole last episode. I will say though, Trish's makeup did look nice in the confessionals. Whoever did it did a good job. And Marquez is funny. He told that man, thank you for coming. Now y'all know Ken was in his feelings because he just has such an issue with Marquez. It's very easy for Marquez to push his buttons. And this was regarding Trish and Marquez's son graduating, and they had to send money to Marquez to be able to come. So y'all know Ken is in his feelings because he just is determined to feel away, even though he's put himself in this situation and has not required any kind of legal, finality to Trisha's and Marquez's marriage in order for him to rightfully move on with that lady. But that's enough on them. Then it's the Fletchers. They go out dancing, which is cute, I think. And so she starts to vent to her husband about her conversation with Mel. Now, what I don't understand is why did she not stand on business, right? Because the way she's talking to her husband here, she is making it sound like she meant everything she said, and yet she did not tell her husband that she apologized to Mel, even though she feel a way about the fact that Mel don't consider them mentor and counselors. And even Chris sounded surprised by that. And I'm like, again, you and your wife don't know what things mean. There's a difference between friendship and mentorship. I don't know why that's not clear to you at all. But Miss Nell should have stood on business. Nell should have stood on business. She should have said, I said what I said in that interview with Crystal XL because that's how I felt. That's what she should have said. I said what I said because that's how I felt about it. I felt y'all are draining and you're just as stubborn as he is. That's what you said. Then why did you not stand on it in Debo's presence? Again, because Mel is apparently Debo, they say one thing in front of her and then another thing when they're not around her. And they're much tougher away from her than they are around to her face, because they're full of it. That's why they can't stand on business, and their story changes based on who they're in front of. So she's Monday morning quarterbacking about the whole situation, and then they're doing a flashback. Y'all remember it must have been last season where or the season where they were talking about the kids and the custody and him talking about the 20 babysitters. And so that scene is yet again another example of Nell not being a mentor / counselor. That is another example. That was supposed to be the evidence that she was counseling and mentoring Mel. That just looks like one friend venting to another friend. That don't look like somebody mentoring or counseling someone else. So that was a fail. To me, that proved that she was not mentoring her. She has put Melody in situations that a mentor / counselor would not. Bringing up Martell as Mel's name changing ceremony in season 2, inviting Mel to their home, knowing that Martell was there without giving her any heads up. This thing about the confronting her with the babysitters in Houston, asking her if she had an affair on him. If you were their mentor or counselor, would that not been a question that you asked? So another evidence of the fact that that's not what it is. Y'all were friends. And it is clear by how Mel handled Nell this episode that she's now put her in a class with everybody else on this show. Y'all remember, like, when people would question whether or not they were friends, like, Mel will always give her the respect as an elder, and and would not the way Mel dealt with her this episode, I don't think that she would have dealt with her in like that in the past. I think she held her in high regard, but again, because Nell is not carrying herself in a way that warrants her being held with that respect that is warranted of an elder, then she's just going to get the same treatment as everybody else, because she's obviously down for whatever it is they got going on, because she's talking about some Mel don't ever want to be held accountable. I'm like, are y'all working off the same script or what? That she's looking for a do girl. All of y'all working off the same script, and every time any of y'all open y'all mouths, you prove that you're working off the same script. Who's writing the script for y'all? Whose script are y'all following? Whose script are y'all following? You upset because that woman said that she already has a therapist and she already has a mama. Why would that be something that would be upsetting to you? She acknowledged that, y'all had conversations and you may have, giving advice from time to time, but you were not her mentor nor her counselor. Be okay with that. Be okay. And then, of course, because that's what the episode is about, everybody got to talk about Maurice's DUI. So her husband asked her, I know the backlash you got from everybody else when it came to the situation with Martell. Now, for some reason, Nell understands that consequences have actions when it comes to Maurice in this situation, even though she is the mother of 2 black sons. She understands when it comes to Maurice that there is consequences for your actions, but somehow that completely escapes her when it comes to the choices that was made based on a report that Nell filed, and the state chose to take action against Martell. He has subsequently been convicted and is under appeal for those charges. Not to mention, it just came out today. I saw it on trending at some point that he has additional charges. He's now the order of how the contact order has been amended to even stricter, where he should have no indirect or direct contact with her, because he's bold enough to call her after she has a meeting with the DA. He calls her to say what was she doing at the DA's office, which lets you know that he is still following her. He is stalking her. I know there are a lot of people who think that people who support Melody and watch this show be putting 20 on 10. For me, it is not about, and trending at some point says, alluded to this as well, which I completely agree with her. I think people think that our interest in this show or our care for this show has to do with, thinking that people are hating on Melody. If all you do is pay attention to this show, in my humble opinion, you're missing a lot of pertinent information when it comes to these people. I know this is a reality show, but this is actually these people's reality, specifically Melody. This is her reality. She is having to co-parent with somebody who is stalking and harassing her. She expressed being in fear for her safety. It is not a game. Yet you people on the internet want to come on different channels and comment about how we're taking it too serious. Mel's not perfect, this or that. What kind of heart do y'all have? It's not just that woman. She has 4 kids with that man that have to go over there 2 weeks out of the month. Can you imagine having a criminal case against your ex-husband? And yet you have to deal with him because of your children and because family court keeps dragging their feet. Mind you, he has violated all kinds of orders. In most other jurisdictions, Martell would have been lost custody of those kids. That would not even be a conversation. But she is living somewhere that all she got is to trust God for her with her kids when they're with their father. And yet a lot of y'all don't see that, and y'all think that we do too much. I don't know what kind of heart a lot of y'all have, or some of y'all have. I won't say a lot because I don't get too much craziness on this channel yet, and maybe it's because I'm a newer content creator. But this is serious. This is why a lot of us are passionate about this show, because we see what it is. We see a woman dealing with some stuff, and it just seems like there are people, despite of what she's dealing with, who are aiming to take her out. There are people who are online acting like y'all, there are court documents. This is not a script. This is not something that's being made up. There are court documents. Whether it's the custody or the RP, there are court documents. There are evidence. There's evidence of what this woman is dealing with this man. So this cognitive dissonance that a lot of y'all are on, I don't understand. You're just being willfully obtuse. I don't get it. I don't get it. You don't have to like the lady. It's not about liking her. It's about right and wrong. You don't have to like her. You don't have to be a fan of hers. You don't have to support her. You don't have to buy any of her products. None of those things. Understand Understand, her life right now is a thing that movies are made of. That's why a lot of us care about this, because we're in real time seeing a woman go through torment, all because she chose to no longer put up with a man's bullcrap. Because she chose to no longer put up with a man's bullcrap. Anyway, so I guess she's done venting with her husband. So they go on to their little dance lessons, and she's, bragging about their little struggle marriage because they're coming up on 30 years. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm calling it struggle because it don't have the cleanest start. Word on the street. If you started off because a man was with another woman, and then during the course of your marriage he leaves you and y'all are separated for almost 2 years, and you wait for him and y'all get back together, be blessed. Good for you that you were able to, get back together, but please don't act like you're some kind of perfect model of what a marriage should be. I'm sorry, y'all. So then the last scene of the episode is Melody's charity event. Y'all know she's very charitable and very giving. And, Dr. Shanita comes down to, work it with her. And again, Maurice's DUI comes up, and Mel lets it be known that she didn't check on anything. She didn't check on them. Mel, this episode to me just really lets me know how much Mel has separated herself from this cast. She has separated herself from this cast. Y'all was a few seasons ago where she threw that cancer remission or free party for Kimmy. I don't believe that Mel would do that today. I don't believe she would. Not because she don't care. She see these people for her worth. And most importantly, as the information has come out about what she's dealing with Martell, they continue to deal with him. So she has been and is absolutely now in a place where anybody who even mentions him in a favorable light, she has to create separation between her and them. And it may not be necessarily personal with them. She cannot have any dealings with anybody who deals with Martell. That's just really bottom line, really what it is right now. She cannot have dealings with anybody who continues to support Martell, who continues to champion Martell, who continues to do his bidding, who continue to put her in a situation where she and him could even meet or mix with each other. She cannot continue to do that. And because, again, these people don't care, they don't care. They don't even think about it. They're always looking for some kind of reason. They're always trying to find little petty offense with Melody, just so they can have a legitimate reason to have an issue with her, to make their plans they have to take her down, plausible and an excuse for why they're doing what they're doing. I know I say this all the time, but honestly, it bears repeating. This cast has really been a great disappointment. Black excellence where?
I don't want to hear what nobody should be doing. Like, you need to be on, like Beyonce's challenge say, on mute. The group really has let me down, as far as just living up, to their potential. And, really doing what they say that they want to do and want to accomplish. I don't know. I guess right now you can count Melody Rogers as disappointed. Mugshot after mugshot after mugshot. I can't help but feel like, what is this? What are we becoming? Because when we talk about originally, right, Black excellence, we talked about originally being the builders of the community, right, being the standard, right? We ain't hitting that. So don't put my name with